This is day 2 of my detox, and everything's going well so far. There's been some strange things going on, very, very, very strange. I feel clarity. I can see the world around me is shifting. I can see which way it's going. But some of the things, I suppose, if I need to do like a positives and negatives sort of thing. The negatives of today are things that I need to improve upon and find a way over. Is that about 2:30 again today, I felt very weak for the first time. This is only day 2. Obviously, this is going to be an ongoing thing of 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. But the funny thing is, during that 4 hours eating, once I eat a small meal, I can't really, I don't really feel like eating much else, and I know I have to, because otherwise I'm going to just become weak, because I do a very physical job. Today, for instance, I was fitting worktops, jointing worktops, cutting in sinks and hobs into worktops, drilling holes for extractor fans, and everything to do with the kitchen. It's quite manual, very tiring. But I will be addressing that issue. One thing I didn't add from last night was that, because I do my videos sort of mid-evening, in the middle of my eating phase. So after I made the video last night about 9:20, something like that. I don't stick to the time exactly to the minute, but about 9:20 I did myself a porridge, organic porridge oats with a banana chopped on it. And that was made with coconut milk, and that's I'll show you some of my coconut milk that I personally use, and that was really, I didn't really feel like it. I felt like I was okay, hunger-wise. I wasn't hungry, but I knew that if I didn't have something, then I would never sort of make it through to the following evening, because I need to make it through to 5:30, as I said, with a very manual labour job. And I did get a bit weak, but I will be stepping up things a little bit, and I'm going to go by my body as to what I have every day. And I'm going to give reasons why I made that choice, and it's all about what you feel. You don't need to listen to everybody around you. You can take into account everything that everybody says, and I do that all the time. But at the end of the day, it's your fast, it's your decision what you do. And I think it's good to mix a lot of things together and try a lot of new ideas. So Valerie McManus messaged me this morning and just said about the cayenne pepper and how important it is to circulation, opening up the blood vessels. So I have one of these today. You can find that they can give you heartburn sometimes, so this is why you need to make sure that if you are doing a fast, if you're taking any supplements in particular, then you need to make sure you take them after your meal. Otherwise, they're all going to end up sat in your stomach, just brewing away and making you feel not too well. So that was one important thing. Also, she mentioned, and Christina Grant and a few others as well mentioned about having lemons. So lemons, I've got loads of lemons here that I can show you, and I'll tell you why I keep so many lemons. It's just almost a bowl full there. The reason why I keep so many lemons, I like them to get a little bit more ripe. Just so they're not too sharp where they're unbearable in tea, because I squeeze them into tea. So for instance, on this one here, where have we got? We've got different aged lemons in here, and I tend to go by the pigmentation on the skin. So this one, for instance, you can see is very very pigmented. It looks green on the screen here. I don't know how it looks to you, but it isn't. It's quite yellow. It's quite a dull yellow, like a matte finish yellow, compared to, I don't know, say that one there. That would be what I would call the freshest one. See how smooth that is. So I tend to go for the for the ones that are a bit more aged, slightly shrunk, slightly shriveled, just because it's not quite so sharp when you have it in tea. And I have a whole lemon every morning, particularly on this fast, because obviously I'm not eating from 9:30 the day before. And when I wake up in the morning, I have a lemon tea. A lemon and ginger tea has now come through. So that's the lemon and ginger tea that I have, which you have to make the old-fashioned way. That particular one's from 100 Monkeys in Glastonbury. They have a fantastic range of teas everywhere. There's a full racks and racks of them. and they're all loose like this. But sometimes the website won't let you order certain things, and it didn't with this. It's the only reason I ran out of this tea was because when I went on the website, it had it there, but it wouldn't let me order it for some reason. They get a few glitches sometimes. So I had to ring the actual shop up and get them to deliver it for me. But that's that. So to look at that from an insider's point of view, there's what the lemon tea looks like. So it's all loose on it, and it smells. I can smell it now. It's amazing. So ginger, yeah, lemon. We all know the importance of all that. But with a lemon in it as well. If you're not too keen on the taste of the sharp lemon, even though you've let them ripen a little bit, then stick in a nice big spoonful of local honey. I'm not personally having honey at the moment because I don't feel that I want to cut that sort of stuff out and stay quite pure for the minute. And obviously you've got your ginger root. You can buy your ginger root in this form, in root form, and then cut it up and put it into anything you want, including your blender. So Christina Grant mentioned the importance of having olive oil as well to cleanse, and I actually I did olive oil. I did an olive oil cleanse with a few other things. It was me and Kelly Logan, who's unfortunately no longer with us, but she was battling terminal cancer, and we did one together. We messaged each other every day. And the stuff that you wouldn't believe is inside of you, the stones, gallstones and things like that come out at the end is fantastic. But you have to be very disciplined, and obviously do a strict protocol. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on to the strange things that have happened to me. I haven't felt hungry. I did go through the weak stage. But for some reason, I just know that I'm not going to feel hungry. It sounds really strange. What gives me the right to sort of feel hungry when there's people out there who haven't got the choice of having food after 20 hours, you do think that a bit. And it's not about, like I say many times, it's not about punishing yourself. I don't stick to any in particular routines with anything. I just want to eat as clean as I can. So, when it comes to having any of the any supplements, if I have any, then I pick them very wisely according to how I feel, because you get to know what certain supplements will do. So I make sure this time of year, especially when I'm working indoors, that I have a D3 every day, a D3 tablet. I used to have 10,000 IUs a day, or sometimes 20,000. Now I'm down to about 2,200 a day. Because I don't feel I need it so much as I used to. The sadness lifted years ago. So, it's very surprising what you can do with just D3 alone when you're dealing with any sadness of lack of sunlight and over the winter. But, I've had my usual multivit. I had my earth this morning. As I explained yesterday in the video, what that does, it's, the earth tends to take away any hunger that I have, so perhaps that's why I'm not feeling hungry at all. Not even when I get home, I'm ready for tea, but I'm not there trying to scoff it down. I almost feel like I get a few spoonfuls in, I don't want any more, but I know I have to, because I need to get the energy in order to work the physical job. So and then the other strange things that happened is there is an air of clarity that's come about me. I do feel like very alert, very aware to what's going on around me. And the strangest thing, I call it synchronicities. I don't believe there's such a word as coincidence. I think that's coincidence for people who aren't so much aware of what's going on around them. I call it synchronicity. And it just so happens that, at the same time as I felt like I must start this cleanse, because remember I started this cleanse a day early, so my star sign didn't officially start to today. But I'd been eating quite good anyway before that. But, I felt like starting it a day early. I just had that eagerness to do it. So I thought, I'm starting a day early. Why wait for a certain date and time? I'm just going to do it when I feel like doing it. That's what I did, and it was funny because day one, starting my sort of detox cleanse come fasting, David Rockefeller died, and I woke up this morning, day two of my my fast, to find that Martin McGuinness had died. So you know, there's an air of I'm not going to call it detoxing, and then people were making jokes on my statuses and via private message saying things like day 3 Tony Blair and things like that, you know, mass murderer Tony Blair. But it just seems strange how there's always a shift of human consciousness this time of year, the birth of the Christ mind, not wanting to take anything off into Christianity, because anybody who knows me know I'm not religious. But there is certain paths that get chosen, that get played on by these people, and if you switch and manage to learn these religions about talking about you internally, then you start to see loads of patterns happen in your life. So, you know, the gifts would come at Christmas time. You know, you'll get a lot of gifts given to you via electromagnetic frequencies, and that's when you're sort of quite strong, and then that will give birth in springtime. So spring is the birth of the new consciousness, and with that, obviously, you know, the only things to stay in this consciousness are the things and people that are still up here, the people who are still seen as, you know, as important around us, and the things that it's the birth of the new mind, and it's the mass consciousness that do this. So, you know, it's very interesting that I start my cleanse and then we can see a new pattern forming. Is this something that you know, something I'm going to keep an eye on very closely over this spring? Big business does not invest in anything this time of year because it's too eager. It's a little bit ahead of the gun. They wait to see what is born. So this time of year and over Easter, they wait to see what's actually born, and then they can see the way that human consciousness is going, what craves and what cravings people are having, what new consciousness issues or you know, pathways people are following, and then they dive on it, you know. So after that, so it's very interesting to see how I naturally felt like starting my cleanse, and then you see these strange things happening around you, and everybody wants to go out, do some gardening. Some people go into the materialistic realm, so they go out and buy a new car just to settle their inner voice, you know. They go out and buy a new car. They'll go out and buy all new furniture, chuck things out left, right and centre, and that's, it's good to spring clean. That's all quite good for clearing our minds, but we have to bear in mind that it's not all about the material stuff. We need to let that fade away, and more so look at the inner us. So if you're out there and you're looking at doing some sort of you know, sometimes you've got children and life's way too overwhelming to be able to do any big changes in your life. You can't just up and move. Maybe your children are at school, you haven't got much money or anything like that. But I'll tell you, one thing you can do is fast. You can fast, you can, you know, it's not going to cost you so much money in food for starters, but that's one side effect. But also, it's something you can do within your home every day, and you know, and it makes you feel like you're actually doing something towards your future. You're actually doing something with yourself, not just sitting there and getting into a bad routine. It's a very important time of year, this, to actually get up and start doing stuff. And you know, in England, for instance, the sun starts coming out, starts getting actually warm enough and light enough on the evenings to do a little bit of you know, work outside or walking or whatever you may do. But it's also it starts to get actually warm enough to not have to go around with scarves and coats and gloves and things like that on. So yeah, this is a very interesting time of year. I'll leave it there. I've already gone on too much, but you'll see certain progressions. I'm going to go right into as I go into this now and I start settling away. I haven't had any headaches yet. I had a very slight headache when I woke up this morning, but it went straight away. Usually headaches are a sign of heavy detoxing, but I wasn't really full of too much beforehand. So it's been quite good to me. But as we get into it, I'm going to go really into the, you know, I'm going to start juicing. I'm going to start putting all sorts of things in there. I've got loads of goodies in this kitchen that, you know, that I have that make me feel really, and I'm a great believer in having a little bit of everything. I make sure you get a bit of everything in your body. Random as well, like random. That's how the world should be. The world should be not pre-planned or set routines. It should be completely random. Go by your feelings, go by your gut. and live each day. You know, it's if it's a new day, a brand new birth of consciousness. So I'll leave it there anyway. I've already gone on too long, over 15 minutes, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye.